Welcome back to the HGC Western Clash, where we currently have Tempo Storm going up versus Infamous with Tempo Storm up 1-0.
Yeah, Infamous, they started to show a little bit more life towards the end, as we were talking about, but Tempo Storm, obviously being the well-composed team that they are, eventually closed it out.
Tempo Storm was looking really good, especially in the early game. I mean, if they keep that style up, I think it's going to be very difficult for Infamous to make any plays here. They've been going into the series extremely confident, but they still have to show that the confidence is justified.
I actually said it off stream, and I actually mean it, is that it just seems like Tempo is like, look, we drafted well, we're playing against the team that we know we're going to beat. You know, eventually we're going to win. Like, I think it was a little bit tougher than they thought, but they just seemed very passive. Like, they didn't feel aggressive as a team.
I think I agree with you. That's the one thing that I miss from Tempo Storm that I want to see. I want to see a dominant game where they just completely come out and they show everyone what's up. They just seem to passively win all the time, and I think that's why when we talk about some of the greats, they never come up, which is so odd to me because they have such a great win rate. And one of that reasons is because we never see them actually dominate a match. This is the opportunity here to really show up in game number 2 and impress us all.
Well, for game number 2, let's find out what map we're going to be going to as we head to the map selection process. Now, the bands, I cannot remember, but we just played on Sky Temple.
Is Braxis and Battlefield were the band,
Okay, the
which blew my mind.
maps. Tempo's happy about that.
Just literally do any research.
And then Towers will be our map for game number 2. Wow, okay.
Another battleground that Tempo Storm is definitely do well on.
Yeah.
They show up there, they know how to play the battleground. But this is where the global pressure that Infamous Gaming says that they're very good at holding on to, that they can defend against. This is where we get to actually test that statement out.
You know, our intel on Infamous is definitely a little bit more limited since they haven't played as many matches, although their regional did go to game number 5 in the finals. But I don't know if they play things like Viking or Abathur here. I think it's going to be a little bit more about the false head Dahaka.
I mean, traditionally, you would actually say that they're not going to do the Vikings here just because they've been saying they're copying a lot of the Korean drafts. They're really trying to lean more towards the Korean meta. Like, watching other regions is a huge part of their preparation since they themselves don't have a lot of scrim partners within their region. They're moving to North America with, like, practicing on a different server with a high ping. So, in theory, they are not going to go for this. But then again, I feel like when we're talking about Tempo Storm, and you've been touching upon this, you want them to come out of the gate swinging. I really feel they're just testing the waters a little bit. They've probably seen that series with Misfits earlier, and they're saying, like, guys, we should not take that, like, for granted that we're taking this game here, so let's just play it safe for now.
4 out of 5 games, Falstad. 4 out of 5 games, Johanna for Tempo Storm on Towers of Doom.
Well, let's find out if they want to do that once more as we hop into the draft for game number 2 on Towers of Doom. Maybe we'll see Falstad. Maybe we'll see Tassadar make it through. Maybe we'll see Lucio.
Maybe.
Oh, man. You got to wonder, is somebody going to bust that out on day 1? Because you know somebody's going to be bringing it out.
I mean, if I was here, yeah, but I lose games a lot. So
Lucio, Chromie, Murky all together.
the god tier heroes, man. All right, the band.
Let's be honest here for a moment. If you would be playing here, we would see Murky, and Murky.
And you would see victories, okay? That's what I would see. I would bring the noise.
Wait, NA would be EU at that point,
That's right, yeah, man.
Oh.
Unstoppable. Well, Dahaka ban and Zeratul ban here for our teams. Tassadar once again left open. Caldor, are you okay with that?
Identical bands, actually.
I don't know. I mean, like, coming from the European region, like, we currently see just Tassadar bans all over the place, so I'm feeling a little bit weird with this. It just feels to me that Infamous respects this Zeratul a lot, and we've seen a lot of the NA teams make a huge noise with Zeratul plays. So I think this is just a respect thing.
Yeah, Salma's a boss on that hero.
I mean, again, they must know that Tassadar is just a logical conclusion after this, and they seem to be okay with it.
Well, Tassadar picked up. Now Infamous Gaming get to choose their heroes. I think Falls at the Sherlock in.
Yeah, I wonder, right? Because, yes, it's all about globals.
Sure.
That's why we're seeing the Dahaka ban. It's brilliant here. Jesús loves Falstad, but do they let that draft happen again?
What I would really like to see them do is already think about a variant. Because they've been...
Whoa!
There it is.
Okay, there we go. I like it.
Welcome to casting, Caldor. We missed you.
I think Varian currently has so many great setups that he can go for. We've seen it in combos with Li Mings, with Greymanes, with the Cursed Bullet. You're good with the Shadow Throw later on against the Shields of Tassadar. And they must be worrying that there might be a Tracer, that there might be a Vala coming. So they need something that can really lock these down. So I really think this is a great pick by them to not fall into the same trap that they did in game number 1.
And you're exactly right. That Tracer, great on this map, great with Tassadar. We already saw it. And Varian, great against there. So it might make them a little bit more hesitant, and you take away Falstad from the usual composition that we see out of Tempo Storm. So right now, good early draft.
Yeah, Falstad has, as you said, like they're great with Falstad, Tempo Storm that is. They have a 10-to win ratio with that hero. So right now, Infamous not only has banned out the Zeratul, which is a huge go-to for Tempo Storm, but they have picked the Falstad away, and they're already looking to counter Tracer Valacom. So I think this draft is much, much smarter from their end.
Well, we're going to see the Li Ming and the Malfurion. So June going for his hero a little bit sooner in this draft since he was left up.
Li Ming may take it away, stops that combination that we've seen so much and talked about. I am interested about the Malfurion pick. I understand Malfurion being one of the solid pickups, but we've seen Varian more, or not Varian, Karazim more and more often as one of those ways that if you hold a late game, you can actually handle the Varian pressure that comes your way. Malfurion, while having cleanse, it is a relatively large cooldown. If you can bait the engage, get the cleanse burned out, and the next few seconds, Varian can get his engage. So Tempo Storm needs to be careful about that, especially when they're going into fights.
I mean, just on that point a little bit more, Karazim also brings a lot more damage to the table. And when you have Tassadar, like, this certainly isn't overextending it when it comes to supports. Tassadar does bring a lot of DPS on his own, but it's interesting for sure.
Yeah, well, I guess the idea behind it is, all right, we picked Li Ming, so we're not going to be near that Karazim. It's going to be hard for him to keep us healed up. And obviously, with Tassadar being our pick, we're going to go an auto-attack route eventually. So Malfurion's a safer play. It's just, you got to think about the Karazim. So maybe they're going to ban it out later. Nonetheless, Infamous Gaming will ban
saw
it.
Ragnar's last game on Infamous. They're going to solidify that front line. They seem to like that. This is actually a game, I've been advocating for this, and we've been seeing it more and more. Azaria against the Li Ming is actually really good. It's free energy because it's predictable damage. 12 seconds on shield ally, 8 seconds on your own shield. Li Ming's orb, 8 seconds. It's predictable damage that you can absorb and use. Zarya does really well on this map to interrupt channels. If you're looking to solidify that front line, Ragnaros isn't bad at this point.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
Zarya
there's Zarya.
being hovered.
Being hovered, yeah.
Well, looking at the Tychus ban, there's two things to take away. Cawthonluck's second most played hero this season, and they very well look for that double warrior, so very good against that as well.
But I have to admit that I actually feel like the Tigers gains way more value against like single warrior comms. I'm not 100% certain that they really needed to ban him out here. I would have been like a little bit more worried about, as you've been touching upon, like a potential rack. They might just like try and pick him. I guess that's why Tempo is actually thinking about banning him out here. He's so annoying when you're just going for Molten Core and you interrupt the channel on any of these altars. It's just a huge pain to deal with. So I could totally agree with the rack ban.
Zarya is equally as annoying.
Yeah, for me, I think it's Zarya.
True, I
Yeah,
mean,
there it is. Just because when Varian engages, if it's the incorrect engage, you have a punishment. But suddenly that Band-Aid that's available, Zarya provides that. So I think the Zarya ban makes a little bit more sense. It's such a weird thing to actually dance around, and it's cool to actually talk about it because obviously both are a pain here.
Well, it feels like Ragnaros will be an obvious pickup. They still need the support. As you said, you know, there's a lot of support options. Rhaegar seems to have made it through. Karazim obviously is an option if you want to be super aggressive, if you can get that isolation. But again, Tassadar shield's so strong.
With it being an Infamous, I just assume they're going to go Karazim. They really love that hero.
Yeah, it's Deep Link's most played.
Yeah, it certainly is. And in fact, they don't even run Malfurion that much, but nonetheless, here we go.
Wow.
We have our ETC and our Greymane.
This is the Greymane comp that I talked about earlier. You have the variant for the setup, and then you have not only Falstad with reliable damage, but you have that cursed bullet on Greymane. So they are going to try and just blow up targets. And in the games that we saw before, we actually saw the comp already being run earlier when we've seen one of the Misfits games. But on the other side, we had a Karazim with a palm, and that's really a huge difference. Right now, we don't have that. We only have the shield of the Tassadar, which helps, granted, but it's nothing compared to that burst heal that you get, let's say, from a Rhaegar, that you get from a palm. So this is something where Tempo Storm needs to be very, very careful how they approach this.
You are 100% correct. Even more so now. Tracer is that. You talked about Variant before and in the last draft. The point and click stun onto Tracer if she comes back there. Now you have a follow-up stun with ETC, which has been becoming a little bit more popular at times. I mean, that's a heavy front line, but Tracer now, that's scary.
Was it Psalm on Tracer last game? I'm trying to remember.
Yes, it was.
Because typically we see a lot of Caterpillar on Tracer.
Just because they're running Tassadar, it
Right,
shifts
so
around a lot.
I'm feeling like that's probably the reason here with no Zeratul, but the Rhaegar will be that last pick.
Right.
I do wonder, though, I mean, letting Tracer through Johanna, I don't know, they love Johanna on this map. They really do. Tempo Storm does, but man, Infamous, I think their draft looks a lot better than what we saw in game one.
Yeah, that Varian versus Tracer,
Yeah,
they're going to feel a lot more comfortable.
And I like the Rhaegar too. If Varian ever goes for a hard engage, he gets poked out by Li Ming. Maybe later on when Mirror Ball becomes available, you have the instant Ancestor Healing available, so Tracer can't chase your team back and get the fight, so you can continue moving forward. So
Right.
Rhaegar makes a lot of sense here.
Are you guys surprised it was Tracer over Valo, though?
A little bit, but when you consider who's playing what, I think they were looking
Yeah,
for
that is
here
true.
for
That is
Psalm.
true,
So
yeah.
that's why I was trying to figure that out. And
I
that's the only reason I can think of as to why they would have gone for Tracer over Vala.
I want to see his Valera. Love watching him on Valero. Psalm is one of the few people that's played it multiple times and had success with
2 games, yeah. I think he won both times.
Yeah.
They have to be aggressive with this. I'm really curious to see how Infamous, after they showed some good signs at the end of the last game, are going to head into this one, because I feel like their draft is much better with this.
Caldor, I think he was talking to you.
I have actually not looked. I didn't look at the screen. What did he do?
He gave you a flex.
He gave me the
Okay.
flex. He let you know.
that
He said,
kid-
I love you, Caldor.
That kid is beating me every day, any day. He's insane. I've been with him in the gym in BlizzCon, and no.
Have you beat him in arm wrestling yet, like every other player in the Heroes of the Storm?
Or Jake.
Let's not talk about that. Let's talk about the game. Take it away, Dread and Gillyweed.
Thank you, Jake. We're back with game number 2. Tempo Storm up 1-0 in this best of 3 so far over Infamous. Dread, what do you think of the drafts?
I like it. I think the analysts put it very well when considering that Infamous has a much better draft than looking at their last game. That being said, we still see the Task Tracer on the side of Tempo Storm. They're going to be Reset City possibly there on the Li Ming as well.
Yeah, Infamous does like to play this 2 warrior setup with having Varian played by probably genre, especially since you and I were talking about it with Typhex not playing heroes for a little while, coming back in as a sub, probably not having too many games on the hero. So yeah, it will be genre playing Varian. There was what I noticed a little bit of over-aggression whenever this team played Varian in their regionals, so I'm hoping that we'll see some more refined play coming in for this game.
Yeah, and we're going to probably see that, the Cursed Bullet strat once more. We already saw it a little bit out of Misfits with the Varian lockdown. One thing I am a little bit concerned about, Will, when it comes to that is, again, because you open with it and it does so much damage out the gates, being able to confirm a kill when you don't have anybody else to provide any burst is a bit of a struggle, and I can't help but feel like, seeing that Season Markman, the Boomerang is decent. I don't know if it's going to be enough into this game, and I feel like that's going to be a common trend when looking at the Cursed Bullet. At least that's how it felt in our first experience of being able to see it. But for now, we'll see how it plays out. We got to wait for that 10. Skirmish is going to happen. Fury with a huge condemn.
Fury condemns in a lot of the members of Infamous, all except Falstad, who's up in the top split soaking. But going back to the Cursed Bullet, Infamous does have, first of all, Varian dying, second of all, a lot of lockdown potential. So if they do have the Cursed Bullet drop, they've got ETC, Varian can charge in, ETC to follow up to make sure that although it may take a little while for them to actually get the kill, they have a lot of ways of keeping them there until they do.
The one thing that does scare me is the Tassadar, though. Yeah, I completely agree with what you have to say, but I feel like Tassadar is a beautiful negation to a lot of what's going to be happening there, because even if the shield isn't used on the target itself, between the armor, that's probably going to be, capable, especially considering we're talking about later into the game, we're going to have enough globes, so we'll retain 50% of those shields. So I agree with you, but it does seem scary into a task, because he can't be focused either. Are you going to go for Johanna? Answer's probably not. A Malfurion is going to have Ice Block as the game moves on, and the rest of them have the mobility or will have the Tassadar. So it's going to be tough, but we'll see if they have the tools, because, again, if one combo hits Li Ming, if nobody's there, that is going to be, one deadly Ming real quick.
Tempo Storm making sure to get their sappers and for level 4 as the altars are about to activate, focusing a lot of their time and energy here in the bottom lane so that they can both simultaneously protect their sappers but also try to make sure that they get 2 out of the 3 of these altars. But ETC is invading Tassadar up in the top, and Falstad's even going to fly in.
That is going to be Shrite ended up using his W there. Tass will end up popping needed by the time. Everybody, the skirmish happening on bottom. June confirms those shots. Psalms has moved up there towards top. Barrel roll out. Psalm with the shield. Can he get the kill? And he gets it. That is going to be another kill for Tempo as they get both of the shrines and set themselves up with a 4-shot lead.
There's Pulse Bomb on Unusual. Psalm starting to back off, though. It is very healthy Greymane still. There's no Quantum Spike just yet to be able to chunk down just a little bit better. The rest of Tempo Storm sieging in the bottom lane so that they can open this lane up as the sappers start going. Once they can get a comfortable lead in that lane, they can start to make rotations elsewhere and start to take down further towers.
It's a little bit of what we saw, with Dignitas on this map. They put a heavy emphasis onto control into the bottom half of the map and cycling out those sappers, and it's hard to deal with. Since we've seen the adjustment to the sapper timing respawn, it just has become it's the best place to go. It's how you can control on this map, unless you have, like a crazy Viking strat. It's really your best go-to. And Tempo has done another good job here as they've set their eyes now towards the top sappers.
Unusual as the Greymane players going for a little more of an unusual Greymane build, focusing more on his Worgen talents, getting thick skin at level 4. To be able to get to some block stacks and help versus some of the auto attacks of Tempo Storm. Unfortunately, those auto attacks come in very quickly when you're up against a Tracer.
Yeah, it's It is an interesting choice to move that direction. It's probably going to just be overly defensive, you know, and that might be able to help them out. That's an interesting position. Either way, for now, Sapper was picked up there. Johanna walks away, as you know, she does best into the variant composition.
It's nicely done by Infamous that they're making sure that Tempo Storm aren't able to steal away the Sappers. Tempo Storm are going straight for their own. So Infamous matching Tempo in this regard is making sure to stave off all of the pressure in the bottom lane. So seems like they've done at least a little bit of their research, knowing that Tempo does like to go for this strategy, making sure that they keep that bell tower for their own. The problem, though, is that level lead.
Yeah, it is. And the Sapper can't pressure on the bottom. Things are just, you know, not looking too good for Infamous. They will be able to pick up that talent here. The flight coming out from Jay Shrite down towards bottom. Actually just going towards mid. And nobody on Tempo is looking to start the shots, at least not yet. And then Usual will be able to get the delay. Condemn comes out. The channel attempt happens once more. Tempo maybe getting a bit greedy. Jay Shrite, though.
Saw him in the back, too. Doesn't get the kill. Barely Jay Shrite stays alive.
Oh, man. Typhix trying to return that Condemn. That's going to be enough to get a kill. Genre is on retreat. Jay Shrite hits the slow. Cawthon doesn't have the tools to be able to confirm that, and that is another kill. And Shrine here for Tempo, as it looks like they're going to snowball at least the beginning half of this game, almost out of control. Infamous here has to find an answer.
Infamous does not want to start letting this get out of control for them fast, and it starts with this bottom bell tower, right? Tempo Storm has focused a lot of efforts here in the bottom. Once again, sending Cattle up to the top as Tassadar to make sure to maintain split soaking so that Tempo can get to heroic abilities. Once they get heroic abilities, though, I fully expect and anticipate Tempo Storm to get very aggressive about that bottom lane or some other objective here.
Yeah, and Infamous really is kind of just praying to be able to pick up on theirs, because it is in a position to where not only is their composition weird, the counter picks, you know, with the variant, dependent on that, but it just also, obviously, you never want to be behind on the 10. That really hurts, but more than anything, it's the counter to the terror that is going to be the Tracer isn't up until that 10 mark here. So Infamous, they go for a very risky play trying to force pre-10, but Tempo, it looks like they're going to forfeit it, realizing, you know, it's just not worth the risk.
Absolutely not. They're about to get heroic abilities, then they maybe can start the fight. Fury's keeping members of Infamous here, the rest starting to rotate in. Here comes Cawthon as he moves in. We've got Sam about to get there as well.
Yeah, Genre is on retreat. Their pulse bomb hits. He's going to be going down for another 20 seconds here. The members of Tempo Storm set their eyes to the bottom four, and without any experience, you know, picked up elsewhere. Jay Shrite finally backing out there on the false ad. He's looking to soak up a mid. At this point, from this point on, it's just Infamous has to soak until 10. They don't have any place on the map other than next to a minion as it's dying, really, for the next while.
Right, and that Sapper invade, while they did invade, Tempo Storm easily sifted out, said, we'll have none of that, thank you very much. Instead got heroic abilities, got a kill off of that, and still were able to get the bell tower and Sappers, and there's an Ultra spawning, so this hurts a lot for Infamous, but they are just gonna have to be patient and wait until they can get heroics. They're willing to force some fights down talent tiers, but this is not one to do so with.
Yeah, that's about the only one where I would say a 0% chance, unless you make a colossal mistake. June there on the Malfurion, gonna get the cap. Sappers pressured out. Genre backed out for a moment, stopping right at the wall. Will they be able to push it past? Minions going down, one left. There's going to be a shot moving in. Two. Number third. Hey, they got it. Infamous is able to stop that. You know, their core is still not looking too pretty. 15 down there at the 21 HP. But they are finally almost 10. Two levels behind, but they're almost 10.
Yes. They will need to utilize that window to make something happen before Tempo get to 13. But they've got a little bit of cleanup to do as well. You know, that bottom bell tower is a problem here. The heroic abilities, though, Mosh Pit or Stage Dive being held. Oh, Falstad goes down. Rough is hitting rougher at this point. Nice roots, though. Yeah,
big root and Twilight Dream. The reset coming in. Cawthon there with a full rotation. Just gets a secondary pick on to Deep Blank there. B-Step coming out from Unusual, which feels unusual considering, I don't know if you looked at Experience recently, but that's not the B-Step moment. That was just ridiculous how fast Cawthon got that follow-up there. That is very, you know, uncharacteristic of Tempo Storm to have that kind of just lethality of that, just open up, just looking to get those kills.
It does seem like Tempo Storm have been evolving a little bit from what we've seen in HGC so far.
Are you trying to say it's not their final form? Is there never? There's never?
Maybe we will have their final form at this event.
I mean, North America hopes so. Cattle's gonna yee out. Root not gonna connect.
Goes a fly. Root! Falstad gets taken out before he can gust!
And now Psalm is going to take a lot of damage. Beautiful cleanse coming out from Jin. There goes the power stick. That is a 5-man mosh pit, but the Condemn says not today. Infamous here had a moment, but it is quickly withering away as the Sappers move in. The ETC falling. Tempo Storm. Fury is the real MVP because that was a mere second away from being a Infamous getting control of this game.
They did get 1 kill at least, but still so far from 13, and still Infamous haven't even been able to take the bell tower away. Tempo Storm have all the control in this game. That is where it is at this point. Infamous starting to have to make these risky type plays, like fighting talent tiers down, maybe an opportunity, but Tempo Storm are gonna steal away or take away the shots from their own altar and move in, happy to go after Infamous's altar as well. Fury's moving in. J-Shrit is there, has Gust if he needs to buy time for his team.
Go for the throat not being available either really hurts the lethality, it feels like, of Infamous here. It doesn't, even if they were on the same talent tier, I don't see this as a skirmish they want to take. Typhex has to back out. Gust is used, it buys time, but merely just that, only time here, as it looks like Infamous has to retreat. Taunt combo goes out.
Taunt, Psalm in trouble, gets back, recalls and blinks to safety of the team. And now Tempo Storm walks away with a 36-8 lead. What's the next move going to be? Do they try to get more bell towers mid? Maybe an opportunity if they can push that lane? No, they want to go in for the boss. They want to get 4 more shots and close this out in short order.
Yeah. Can Infamous stop it here without the Gust? I don't think it's going to be the case here. I mean, you know, he's looking to turn that bell tower over, so that's going to be forfeited there. 4 more shots moving in the core. And now Tempo Storm sits 1 bell tower away from sighting off GG for not only this game, but possibly the series.
Rough for Infamous. ETC gets caught. Pulse bomb. Ancestral not connecting, and another kill goes the way of Tempo Storm. 10 kills to 1 so far, Dread.
Yeah, very well done from June as well, realizing that, you know, the only way they're going to be able to get the kill is with that hard CC as a follow-up, making sure he's not going to be able to walk away. And that pick is going to lead to another Sapper, more pressure. These are not enough. Oh, man. Another root, another deep link.
Psalm in the back. Goes after Unusual. That's going to be recall out. Still going after Genre, though.
Good cleanse. It was actually more of a pre-cleanse, though, on the side of June to make sure Psalm is not going to be under pressure. 16 is closing in. Infamous here. It's just, where does it stop? I guess I have the answer. It's when the core is dead. Yeah, that's actually, that was the right. I don't know why I asked, to be honest, yeah. You got it. Nailed it.
It's all right. We figured it out. That's the most
But we
important
did
thing.
it together.
Oh, those roots! J-Shrit gets blown up. That was so awesome from June.
And somehow Psalm survives the Blessed Shield, just playing ping pong with all of Infamous there. The Condemn, Cawthon looks saying thank you. That's a triple reset. And now it looks like there is no way Infamous Rhaegar by himself can stop that. It looks like we're looking at a GG here. Tempo Storm, 3-level leading. Very well done.
Game, set, and match for Tempo Storm. A 3-level lead. Commanding presence on Towers of Doom. Yes, Sky Tempo, they had a great victory, but we wondered how this next map was going to be, especially going back in with the Tracer comps, but executing Infamous with no trouble at all.
And we often talk about Tempo Storm as a team, or a lot of other teams in North America consider Tempo as the one that's consistent. With no outstanding flashy players, I can genuinely say Cawthon was beyond flashy in that last game there. He was putting out the DPS, you know, he's getting the resets, and the whole June making plays with the roots.
June.
Everybody was, they seemed like they, you know, they did upgrade their play here, and it's very nice to see that as they start for North America, or at least the #1 seed for North America here at the Western Clash.
Yeah, June is incredibly impressive. He has the highest KDA, not only for North America, Dread, but across North America and Europe. All of HGC between those 2 regions coming into this event, and you could see why. Those roots, when J-Shrit flew in, oh my gosh.
And like, even it's the small things, you know, realizing he needs the Twilight Dream just for the ETC, and the impact that is going to have for his team is worth not having the cooldown in the next, you know, team fight that's going to be engaging. Very well done and calculated play for all of Tempo Storm. That being said, though, we can't take anything away from Infamous. They were still, for me, a pleasant surprise so far with their games. It's with Typhex, you know, filling in, not playing for so long, and then trying to help this team to be able to be successful. So, but Tempo's just, you know, a little too strong.
They are very strong. We get to hear from Tempo Storm now. Red-Eye is on stage for a winner's interview.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much. I'm going to keep my distance because I understand that you're not very well right now. So So let's just do this from afar. That was all right. That was okay. That worked well. A 2-0 victory on paper. It wasn't that straightforward, though, in game one. Talk us through it.
We just had a small slip-up game one. It was pretty straightforward, but we lost a tiny bit of focus mid-game and then managed to pull it back together, so it was okay.
You've had a good start to the season, obviously 6-1 in North America. How different is it coming to the Western Clash and having to play teams from other regions? Does it screw with your mind a little bit? Do you practice differently? How do you approach it?
I think we practice about the same. We don't ever really take any series like lightly, even all the NA ones. So we're working probably a little harder, just getting a little more preparation. But yeah, just the competition is harder, so preparation is more important, but we do the same amount.
Is it easy to underestimate teams from other regions sometimes? And did you look at the results from earlier on today and sort of think we need to make sure that we do the things we're good at and not take anything for granted?
Yeah, we're just here to win the series, so no matter what team we're playing, we're just trying to get a quick 2-0. This game especially because I want to go rest, so that was most of our motivation today, but yeah.
You've got that now, and you can rest, and you can take the rest of the day off, and you can come back tomorrow. Any thoughts as you look forward to tomorrow, thinking about who you might play?
Well, we're really excited to watch the Fnatic GFE series. I think it can go either way. I think Fnatic has the edge. I expect to face them, but I'm not counting GFE out yet.
Well, congrats on the win today, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Hopefully you're feeling a bit better as well. Tempo Storm safely through to the semi-finals of the upper bracket. Let's find out from our panel what they made of that one.
Welcome back to the panel, guys. And Kaldor, he just said he thinks he can go either way, but you immediately say no.
Yeah.
What do you think about Tempo? How do you feel the power level is?
Oh, I mean, like all jokes aside, and obviously I'm a little bit biased towards the European server, no doubt about. Hey, I am surrounded by you guys, all right? Give me a break.
Tetra got the same treatment
I'm
last
a little
time.
there too, a little bit. I'm there.
I'm getting you there. I'm getting you there.
I'm
Yeah.
slowly getting adopted. The papers are almost in there. We'll be
But-
good.
I actually think there is still a gap, and I think we're going to see that in that series. I thought if there's a series where NA takes the entire series today, it will be the Dignitas series. That was my personal prediction for it. I really feel that Fnatic is going to show in strength and take GFE down. Fnatic has sometimes a little bit of a problem on an event when they are on a lot of pressure, but I don't think it's going to happen.
All right, let's talk about that game. Towers of Doom, I mean, obviously a large map where you're looking for those globals. We saw that Falstad early pick once more. But Tim, I mean, how'd you feel about it?
I'm happy for Tempo Storm. I wanted to see a dominant performance from them, one that they started from very beginning to the very end, and they controlled the battleground. They ran the bottom right bell tower. They made sure not to fall far. They had amazing play from June. I know you and I were freaking out where he had a really solid one root on the Falstad, had a cleanse on Tracer at the same time, and then made sure to land a solid Twilight Dream for that team to win the fight. So overall, Tempo Storm walks away from that, and as what's his name mentioned, Dreadnought mentioned that usually, what's his name, right?
Never heard of him.
Yeah, who's that guy? Mentioned that is a team that normally doesn't have very explosive players, and we saw them pop off for once, and that's great. I want to see that from North America, and they got to do it in that matchup.
Well, yeah, we saw a lot of replays where Dreadnought popped off, but here we're going to look at a replay here from that tournament, from that match that we just had. One of the team fights, I believe it was in the bottom lane. Yes, you can see all the action as all this Falstad gets popped.
It's like it's so brutal to just watch this. Falstad is immediately taken out. They're already 2 levels ahead. They have the talent lead. The Mosh Pit, I mean, that may have been enough to turn around, but they are just cleaning house here. And let's just face it, that was one of those series where the only thought that you have is not even close. I mean, they just dominated.
Fury actually really likes playing Johanna into an ETC when they know that they have a stronger dominant. They had Tracer, they had things like that they could do more with. He'll play a lot. It's something that we see on a lot of maps. And like I said, 4 out of the 5 games he's played Johanna, and you can see that's actually a really big reason right there.
It seems like he saves Condemn for those moments where he's afraid of the mosh pit, right? He queues it up, the mosh goes in, and then the Condemn just stops it immediately. It's a really nice way to do it.
Yeah, it's a ETC mosh pit is actually very telegraphed if you do it after a power slide. So all you have to do is just get ready for him. You see that slight hesitation where he's getting that wind up, and you just pop W. And even if you get caught in it, it still will go through the entire animation and pull you out. So with Fury being one of probably the best ETCs in North America, he's just ready for that, and he's primed to stop it.
Yeah, let's take a look at the other replay we have here for you guys from that matchup where I believe it was the one in that bottom lane. You mentioned June earlier. And I think the Falstad's going to fly in. Yes, the Falstad flies in. The roots
the
are
root.
there. Watch the cleanse on Psalm.
He gets
Just saves him perfectly, like just barely able to get him out of there. I guess it wasn't a cleanse, I lied to everyone.
Oh, it's okay. He was still playing freaking awesome there. And then Chthon on the right side just comes in and hits its buttons, like landing those attacks, making sure to bring out that damage. Gets a spin at the end too for that little attitude. You need that in some mix-ups so people will cheer for you a little bit. So nice job by Chthon.
Yep.
I'm just waiting. Who's going to spin up here and show me some attitude?
I don't know.
Caldor, he's the one with the attitude. Give us
Somebody
some
to cheer
attitude.
for.
It's true.
Little attitude, man. Show me it. Just never. He just smiles.
No.
That's all he does. He
Like,
hates
what
me.
the hell is he doing?
J-House just getting slayed. Earlier we had the
dying. Yeah, like,
trick. Just
That's attitude. That's sass. Come on. All right, guys.
sassiest
Go
caster
and play
NA.
Murky.
I'm going home.
All right, let's
Done.
take a look at the brackets now that we've got 3 of our matches here in the first round of the tournament completed to see where these teams are standing and who is matching up against each other. We saw earlier today Misfits take their win 2-1. Dignitas also 2-1. They will be matching up tomorrow in the winners semifinals. Tempo Storm, the first 2-0 victory of the day. And after this, we have Fnatic versus Gale Force Esports to determine who will face off versus Tempo. And that's going to be one heck of a game.
So excited. You and I casting that.
Yeah, we cast the next series. But like talking about Tempo Storm, I feel like whenever we are going to see a European team go up against Tempo Storm, if that happens, it's going to be such a different series because these Tassadars consistently going through the draft, it was just like, what?
That was weird.
That wouldn't really happen in any of these games, at least not to that extent. So I think any European team trying to scout here is not going to get a lot of information.
That's a really good point, actually, when you consider that Tempo Storm literally had to show nothing in their hands in that series.
I'm excited. I will definitely have some talking points, especially after our interview yesterday with Fnatic and the way that they spoke and Gale Force, everything that they want to accomplish going forward. I'm looking forward to talking about that one. I get to be on the desk with you again, or actually you're going to be taking a break. But I get to be up here again to talk about that one. That one, if you follow any of them on Twitter, Quacknick's being my favorite. If you follow any of them on Twitter, you know that the banter is there. It's obviously not BM or anything, but they have a lot of fun. These two teams, I imagine we'll see a few B-steps this series.
A few B-steps, some awesome play coming ahead. Stay tuned for Gale Force versus Fnatic.
Another round? The pathetic wretches of this new realm already fear me.
They should. So many souls for me to harvest.
And I shall begin with theirs. This Nexus, all its power, it will be mine!
Those who oppose me invite their own demise.
If the two of us have learned anything fighting fools like these before, it's that
When we work as one, none can stand against us.
we are Shogun! We will rule the Nexus!